has fallen behind in providing services to students. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
A mental health report card for Pennsylvania found more than 57,000 children with major depression didn't receive treatment. Kate Fox is behavioral health policy coordinator with Children First PA. She says schools are vital for identifying mental health warning signs and intervening early, and emphasizes the need for system-wide sustainable reform that create a workforce pipeline for diverse mental health professionals to support children in and out of school.
If you see on the Hopeful Future School Mental Health Report Card for Pennsylvania, we have really low staffing ratios for school mental health professionals. So we have only one school psychologist for every 997 students.
Fox says the report also shows only one school social worker for every 3,416 students, and that recommended ratio is one for every 250.
Pennsylvania's three statewide row officers have been sworn into four-year terms, marking the first time that all three offices were filled by Republicans at the same time who were elected. Treasurer Stacey Garrity and Auditor General Tim DeFore will each be sworn into a second four-year term on Tuesday. Attorney General-elect Dave Sunday will be sworn into his first four-year term. They'll take their oaths and ceremonies in the Forum Auditorium across the street from the state capitol. The offices are often viewed as springboards to running for higher office. The row officers each have built-in watchdog duties that could affect how Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro governs. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that there will be a fundraiser spaghetti dinner on Saturday, February 1st in Center Township for Preston Coleman. Coleman's condition is unknown after he was assaulted at an Aliquippa VFW bar 2 weeks ago. Donations of pasta, sauces, rolls, salads, and desserts are requested. The dinner will be held at the VFW Hall at 138 Stone Quarry Road in Center Township from 1 to 4 p.m., and it costs $15 for adults and $10 for kids. This newscast is being brought to you by the J&J Spratt Funeral Home in New Brighton.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Increasing clouds and extremely cold today. We'll see a high near 11 with wind chill values as low as -9. Cloudy tonight will drop down to a low around 6. Partly sunny tomorrow with a slight chance of afternoon snow showers. We'll reach a high near 26 and an overnight low around 12. And more sunshine in the forecast for Friday. We'll see a high near 22 and a low around 8. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Wednesday, January 22nd of 2025, at 10 minutes after 9, we've got a temperature of -2 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Are you ready? It's time to find out what is on the mind of Eddy Crow. It's something to crow about on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. Now, here's the host of the show, Eddy Crow.
I have been looking forward to this program today for several reasons. One, every time I show up, they keep paying me. And on a day when minuses are included in the temperature, yeah, I'll take it. But more so, my first hour, I'm going to talk to Justin Wells, and we're going to talk, how you doing? And that's a weird question already, because we've already been shooting the breeze for about 10 minutes, and I got so many questions other than why you're here. But first off, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning to you, too.
Why are you here?
So I am here to let my story be heard of running the 129th Boston Marathon.
Okay, that leads me to my first question. I talked about this yesterday, knowing that you were coming in. Justin Wells is my guest. It's something to crow about. I'm Eddy Crow. Why do you run 26 miles, 385 yards? Why? What made you say, yeah, I'm going to do that?
So I did have a life-altering experience. My father actually passed away 3 years ago of a massive heart attack.
Okay.
Was completely unexpected, had a normal underlying, some normal underlying health that every, man would have in their 60s, nothing, outliers or anything along those lines.
You're right. That is, I went through a similar thing. That is absolutely life-altering.
Yes.
Your vision at the world is completely different.
It is.
What'd you do?
It stops you on a dime.
Yeah.
From that point on, I sat down. I, obviously had some struggles. It's
Yeah.
not an easy road. Your best friend's not there anymore. So I had definitely some struggles. And I told my wife one day, I said, hey, I want to get out. I want to just get outside. I said, I want to go out and just take a run. She goes, are you sure? She goes, you've never ran in your entire life. I said, just, I need to get outside. I need to do something other than, sitting here dwelling on it a little bit.
Was it getting to the point where you were almost panicked and felt like I have to find something to take my brain away from this?
100%.
Is that what happened?
100%.
How did you avoid making dumber decisions than I'm going to go for a jog? Because that downward spiral can pick up speed really quick. How did you fight through that?
Yeah, so I have a loving family. I have
support system.
I have a backbone. I have a support system. I have a loving wife, Nicole, 2 children, Landon and Ava. And
How old?
Landon is 7, and Ava's going to 18 months.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, you got built-in babysitting.
I do.
Yeah. Well planned. And they supported you, and you said, one day I'm going to go run. And do you know why it was running? And what did you go through when you said, the first steps?
I don't. I don't know why, running chose me. I chose running. I feel it's, obviously mutual here where I am today with it. It was just, something close to the house. I love the outdoors. I'm an outdoorsman myself. And, another way to spend more time outdoors and see something new was to get out and run.
Yeah, but there's a difference between sitting in a tree stand and trying to run 26 miles.
Definitely. I think that kind of shows to my dedication to something. When I start something, I got to go head over heels for it.
Justin Wells is my guest. The first run, how far did you run?
My first run was probably only maybe a quarter mile.
Okay.
That's it. Nothing, nothing crazy at all. Just get out there and enjoy it.
When did that happen, and how long did it take you to start thinking, maybe a marathon? Did you work your way up?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. So I would say about 2 years ago, about a year after somewhere around 10 months after my dad passed is when I started, actually getting out running. And just from that first time on was a complete, almost adrenaline rush, but also I could breathe. I felt like I took the weight off my shoulders and I could breathe.
How did your brain feel different when you decided, or when it decided that you could breathe?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say that it gave me clarity, right?
Yeah.
It's my father had always been there on my mind. It was obviously fresh. Didn't really know how to react to it. You do have as much of a support system as you can, but still at the end of the day, it's your mind. It's going through your own head. And to just be able to get out there, listen to some music, and just completely clear it. I just felt like clearing it. And you're obviously able to think of him the entire time, but you're having positive thoughts that entire time.
Is that the first time after his passing that it clicked in your head that maybe you could get through this with him gone?
I would say 100%.
That's when you thought, okay. And then you decided, I know, I'll run a marathon. Have you raced or run a race before this? Because this is not a marathon. This isn't a fun run.
No.
Okay?
So
you've got to qualify. They don't. I couldn't sign up and go, I'm going to run this marathon.
Yeah. So
Boston, no.
Going up to this, up to when I had very first started running, I had never run any type of time race. Maybe it was just running for fun here and there.
Okay.
But I do have a little bit of a background. I did play baseball in high school, so a little bit of an athletic background.
What position?
First base.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, first base.
Yeah. The big. I still got my first baseman right on. So that's different though. Running 90 feet to beat out a dribbler ain't running 26 miles. How did the process build to get here?
So it's been obviously a 2-year time frame. And just get out there and keep pushing yourself. I first started with, I would say, bumped up within the first month to about a 5-mile run.
How many days a week were you running?
5 to 6 days a week, pretty much just take one day off. And I, just felt great. I had saw myself start to lose some weight. Overall energy in my body just felt so much better. And, at that point, when you start seeing positive things, you kind of get, sucked into it almost. And I just kept training. At one point, I had ran by myself a half marathon. I just didn't really time it. To be honest with you, I didn't realize what a half marathon was. I literally just went out and ran 13 miles.
Oh, okay. You're talking about on your own. You did the distance.
Yep. Just in my just running, and like I said, I wasn't training for anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the enjoyment of getting out there and running. And I actually had ran a almost half marathon, 13 miles. And at the end of the run, there was a gentleman there, an older gentleman. And he said, son, you just got done running long distance. I said, yeah. He goes, do you run long distance? I said, no. I said, kind of told him a little bit of my background, why I was here, why I'm running it. He goes, I really want you to think about doing a timed race. And I said, nah, it's just not for me. I said, I'm just, it's not what I'm here to do. I'm just here, come out by myself, clear my mind.
When you would run, was it clearing your mind and was it processing? And you never thought about how fast I'm doing this, did you?
No, absolutely not. Okay. Not at all. I was just strictly get out there and make myself feel better.
How did he talk you into it?
No, it's solid. So it's the same exact thing happened probably 3 weeks later. He saw me again. He said, hey, he goes, you're running long again. I said, yes, sir, I am. Where
is he seeing you? Is he hiding behind a bush and jumping out or what?
At the end of my, beginning end of my trail, there's a little parking area there. At that parking area, we would just honestly just cross paths. Obviously, it was meant to be. Would just cross paths right there.
See my guy.
Yep. And the gentleman goes, hey, I want you to come sign up for this race. He goes, it's only a half marathon. He goes, we don't offer a full. And I said, hey, I'm going to take you up on it. I said, I truly think you're here to push me to do this, so I'm going to take you up on it.
You say, did you see me cringe when you said it's only a half marathon?
I know. I say that now because I obviously I am a marathon runner. So at the time, yeah.
All right. Well, you qualify. Obviously, you're a marathon runner. Justin Wells is my guest, qualified for Boston Marathon. When's the Boston Marathon? Is it in the spring?
Yeah, this spring. It'll be almost 3 months to the day, April 21st. That is on a Monday.
Why did you choose Boston Marathon? Because it's the closest of the big ones, or
no? Boston Marathon, I think, kind of chose me here.
How so?
Yeah. So I have an uncle. And he is from Boston and had some one of his actually young childhood friends, Brian Oates, one of the founders of this, are good friends. And Uncle Kenny actually has ran the Boston Marathon previously, and he kind of told Brian that, hey, you might want to take a look at this, this kid's story. He goes, he's got a pretty good story going on here, and you might want to hear it. So Uncle Kenny reached out to Brian, and Brian reached out to me. And at that point, I was asked to be on the charity organization called Gulf Fights Cancer. And
that's who you're representing when you run in the Boston Marathon?
That is who I'll be running for charity, yes, sir.
Did you choose them? Did they choose you?
No, like I said, I felt like everything they chose me. Like, just how it was given, with my story being heard to them and then them reaching out to me.
How much do you think your dad's pulling the strings and getting all this serendipitous moments going? Because this is beautiful.
Definitely. I mean, it almost kind of gives you the chills because I'm just a little local runner here from Western Pennsylvania. Never thought in a million years that I would be potentially running the Boston Marathon and going. I mean, I'm starting with my first marathon in a large scale being the Boston Marathon, the cream of the crop.
A marathon that you say it and people go, oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yes, not the local marathons here that I've ran.
Are you to the point where you're dialing back your training, or are you still building up?
Nope, still building up 100%. We will see a peak here pretty much the end of February into early March.
How many miles in a week at peak?
Around 80.
On purpose?
On purpose.
80. Okay, how does that break down? What are you doing? Because if you're only doing 10, you need 8 days a week. How do you do 80 in a week?
That is correct. So you'll see. So I'll have a long run, and when I say 80 miles, that's going to be pretty much my peak week, and that should be at the end of February, early March.
It's my peak year.
You will see a lot. So I will have pretty much 2 long distance runs in there. We'll have one at about 24 miles and one at about 20 miles, somewhere in that vicinity. And then just my normal daily average runners.
What's a daily? If you're not training for the Boston Marathon, how many miles when you go out?
Pretty much 8 miles a day.
That's it?
Yep, 8 miles a day.
Is it not imposing, but is it difficult to envision? Or where are you running distance-wise now?
So I run on a local rails to trail. They had an old railroad bed that they turned into a public trail, which I personally love running on because they have a lot of crushed gravel, rock dust.
A lot of cinder, and it's flat.
Yep, and it's really nice to run on. But also being, I am from Greensburg, being from here, obviously Western Pennsylvania, you do have your hills. So it's kind of nice. So I will venture off and I will go on to some hard pavement and do a lot of hill training because the Boston isn't going to be flat. There are some hills in the Boston. And I also want to switch up my training to running on a hard surface asphalt because the majority of the Boston is going to be on asphalt.
How long do you have before you worry about shin splints when you make that switch?
So
or
I've actually gone.
Do you back up?
Yeah, so I've gone through shin splints already. I've had, just I would say the normal runner's injuries, nothing crazy, knock on wood here. But since I've had those shin splints, everything's been pretty good. I think your body gets used to,
the abuse.
The abuse, yes. The abuse that it takes, more or less.
It is something to crow about. My guest is Justin Wells. We're talking about golf for cancer and the Boston Marathon. And I can't wrap my head around that. But after the news, I want to get more specifically into your story. And it starts horribly with the passing of your dad. That after news.
Here is a question that's very easy to answer. Would you rather be sold something or get professional help and advice that ultimately leads to a strategy that best suits your needs? Tom Young at First Consultants Inc. in Beaver has a unique approach that has won over the trust of even the most skeptical clients.
Everybody that's selling is looking for a profit. I focus on creating strategies that are in the client's best interest.
Ask yourself this: what have you got to lose? The answer might be a fortune. Get financial strategies instead of a pitch about a product. Visit firstconsultantsinc.com or be a part of Tom Young's live simulcast presentation on the third Tuesday of each month beginning at 9:10 a.m. on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is in no way affiliated with First Consultants Inc., nor is First Consultants Inc. a registered investment advisor.
A lot has changed since 1885. That's when my great-grandfather, William Andrew Hartzell, opened the doors to our family-owned and operated funeral home. This is William F. Rick Murphy from the William Murphy Funeral Home Incorporated in Rochester. Together with my son, Brian C. Murphy, we represent a business that is now flourishing into its 5th generation. Throughout that time, we've had the pleasure of experiencing many of local memories that have made Rochester and the surrounding area so great. I'll bet many of you can easily recall the H.C. Fry Glassworks, Barnett's Bootery, or even Kaufman's Department Store with its massive double-decker parking lot.
To put things in perspective, my family was already serving others at their time of need before the automobile had even been invented and the aforementioned businesses started and ended. Our commitment to serve our community with dignity and compassion has allowed the William Murphy Funeral Home Inc. to preserve a business legacy that spans nearly 140 years, and we're still here. To contact us, visit our website at William Murphy Funeral Home Inc. or call 724-775-0309.
Hi, folks. I'm with our good friend John Diagardi from Roe Monument. John, you were telling me earlier that people really should not rush into choosing a memorial for their loved one. Now, why is that?
We found that families need to take ample time to grieve first. Grief is not something that we get over, but rather something that we learn to live with. So the length of time to grieve varies from person to person.
You mentioned that the monument can't be placed right away.
That's right. There are certain things that need to take place before a monument can be installed. So it's really worth taking time to think about how to plan and design a memorial that truly reflects a person's life. It's actually a healing activity that helps to alleviate grief.
John, this makes a lot of sense.
It does. And when the time is right to proceed, not only can Roe Monument help families choose and design their memorial, we can help them save as much as 50% by eliminating the middleman.
Thank you, John. Folks, you can learn more simply by visiting RoeMonuments.com.
Here is a question that's very easy to answer. Would you rather be sold something or get professional help and advice that ultimately leads to a strategy that best suits your needs? Tom Young at First Consultants Inc. in Beaver has a unique approach that has won over the trust of even the most skeptical clients.
Everybody that's selling is looking for a profit. I focus on creating strategies that are in the client's best interest.
Ask yourself this: what have you got to lose? The answer might be a fortune. Get financial strategies instead of a pitch about a product. Visit firstconsultantsinc.com or be a part of Tom Young's live simulcast presentation on the third Tuesday of each month beginning at 9:10 a.m. on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is in no way affiliated with First Consultants Inc., nor is First Consultants Inc. a registered investment advisor.
Let's face it, work is a large part of your life. Why not choose a job that allows the opportunity of a fulfilling career working with people who appreciate you? St. Barnabas Health System is looking for extraordinary, service-minded people to join our team. Earn and learn with career opportunities on our clinical, housekeeping, and food service teams. For more information and to apply, visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-444-JOBS. Jobs that are apart from the ordinary. Find them at St. Barnabas Health System.
Sometimes the holidays can last a little too long, but usually it's no big deal if you discover a leftover fruitcake in your refrigerator, even if it's after Memorial Day. You just toss it out and move on with life. This is Pat Travail from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. On the other hand, high interest charges from store credit cards can really start to stink too. The fact is, if you don't deal with it now, you might still have some of this year's Christmas rotting away in your budget, like a cookie tray that's been left uncovered far into the next year. With approved credit, you can transfer your existing balances to our low fixed-rate Visa card now and put freedom in your future. Don't let the holidays linger. Throw the high-rate credit cards out with the eggnog that's gone bad. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, equal housing lender.
Your success is our success. We belong to you.
When the weather turns bad, you can now do two things. First, tune to Beaver County Radio for the latest cancellation announcements, and second, go to beavercountyradio.com and access our all-new closings and delays widget that is active anytime that there are weather-related events. If snow's got you covered, so do we at Beaver County Radio. Beaver County Radio social media and beavercountyradio.com. Snow Watch is presented by Monroe Auto Body, the Lisa Latham team at eXp Realty, the cornerstone of Beaver County, and Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Wednesday, January 22nd of 2025. There's a cold weather advisory from now until 1 p.m. today. We will have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. The residents who question whether Norfolk Southern's $600 million settlement offers enough compensation for the East Palestine train crash don't plan to let a judge's order requiring an $850,000 bond derail their appeal. Instead, they've asked an appeals court to reject the judge's requirement that they put up that huge sum. The class action attorneys who negotiated the deal say the appeal will add administrative costs for the firm distributing settlement money to those who lived or worked in the area of the February 2023 derailment. Nearly $300 million of the settlement has been on hold because of the appeal, though a judge approved the deal in September. Gas prices are 7 cents higher in western Pennsylvania this week at around $3.45 per gallon. That's according to AAA East Central's gas price report. The report states that at this week last year, gas prices were priced at around $3.40 per gallon. The report also notes that the average price that you can expect for a gallon of unleaded gas here in Beaver County is around $3.41. The Moon Township Police Department is looking for public information about a home invasion robbery that occurred near Snyder Drive and Thorn Run Road early Monday morning. Both suspects are white males, one near 5'8" and the other near 5'11", as described by the victim. Masks, sweatshirts with hoods, and gloves were all worn by the two. One owned a Glock pistol and the other owned a rifle AR style. If you have any information about this incident, please call 412-262-5000. As young people struggle with mental health issues, schools often provide the best avenue for getting them help. However, Pennsylvania has fallen behind in providing services to students. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
A mental health report card for Pennsylvania found more than 57,000 children with major depression didn't receive treatment. Kate Fox is behavioral health policy coordinator with Children First PA. She says schools are vital for identifying mental health warning signs and intervening early, and emphasizes the need for system-wide sustainable reform that create a workforce pipeline for diverse mental health professionals to support children in and out of school.
If you see on the Hopeful Future School Mental Health Report Card for Pennsylvania, we have really low staffing ratios for school mental health professionals. So we have only one school psychologist for every 997 students.
Fox says the report also shows only one school social worker for every 3,416 students, and that recommended ratio is 1 for every 250.
Gambling in Pennsylvania reached a high of over $6 billion because of the online gaming industry last year. Taxes reached around $2.7 billion from the fees each year to operate slot machines. According to a report from the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board, 2024 revenues increased by 7.73% for over $6.1 billion. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that there will be a fundraiser spaghetti dinner on Saturday, February 1st in Center Township for Preston Coleman. Coleman's condition is unknown after he was assaulted at an Aliquippa VFW bar 2 weeks ago. Donations of pasta, sauces, rolls, salads, and desserts are requested. The dinner will be held at the VFW Hall at 138 Stone Quarry Road in Center Township from 1 to 4 p.m., and it costs $15 for adults and $10 for kids.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Increasing clouds and extremely cold today, and we're still under that cold weather advisory until about 1 p.m. this afternoon. Today, we'll see a high near 11 with wind chill values as low as -9. Cloudy tonight will drop down to a low around 6. Partly sunny tomorrow with a slight chance of afternoon snow showers. We'll reach a high near 26 and an overnight low around 12. And more sunshine in the forecast for Friday. We'll see a high near 22 and a low around 8. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
You are listening to Something to Crow About with Eddy Crow. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888.
Minutes before 10 o'clock. Something to Crow About. I'm Eddy Crow. With me, I know we were only supposed to talk about only scheduled to talk about a couple things, but I've been talking to Justin Wells, and we have been talking about everything, and it's been brilliant. But I want to specifically talk about Golf for Cancer, because that's who you're running for in the Boston Marathon. There's a lot to unpack in that sentence.
There is.
Yeah.
Yes. So I will be running for Golf Fights Cancer.
Right.
They are a 503 nonprofit organization. And
doesn't the marathon have, they check that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They are a 5013 nonprofit. And what their goal to do is they have a passion to break into the generosity of donors to raise much funded needs for cancer-related organizations, families that are dealing with the disease. So how Golf Fights Cancer started was actually two friends, Brian Oates, and this name's probably going to sound pretty familiar to you if you're within the golf industry, Jay Monahan, who is actually, yes, Jay Monahan.
One of my dad's heroes, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is the PGA Tour commissioner right now.
Yeah. He the boss.
Yes, he is the boss. One of their good fellow friends had passed away from cancer at a younger age. And Jay actually went out and ran the Boston Marathon. And Brian and the two, they kind of got together and said, hey, why don't we start something in our friend's memorial? And this is where Golf Fights Cancer started. Just the two of them getting together and say, hey, let's give back. We want to do something. So from that point forward, Golf Fights Cancer has started in 2004, and they have actually raised over $14.5 million in
how much?
$14.5 million since 2004 that they have taken in. And they have actually given 85 different cancer-related charities donations. So when you give to Golf Fights Cancer, it's not just locally based out of Massachusetts where the gentlemen are from. You're actually reaching out across the country, which is pretty astonishing to me.
Well, that's an astonishing number. How good a golfer are you?
I can say that I'm just maybe your average golfer. I get out there in the summer.
No. Average is subjective as all get out. Justin Wells is my guest. You go out 18. Nobody's jacking you up in front of you playing 4 balls and then looking for the club they forgot. Nice pace. What's a decent day?
Oh,
mid-80s?
I'd say mid-80s.
Okay, that's not average, bro.
Yeah, we'll say on a good day is mid-80s.
All right. I want you to tell your story, because if people weren't listening the first half hour, you lost your dad and you found running, and in the span, training-wise, the blink of an eye, you're running the Boston Marathon.
Yes.
Can you explain simply how you got that far, literally that fast?
Yeah, so I mean, again, my father had passed away of a massive heart attack, needing to find something to find clarity in my mind and the mindset that I had. The outdoors, I have the passion for it. Running found me. I found running just through, it's amazing. You find stepping stones this entire way. You think, okay, I'm going to go out and run just a mile. That you hit that mile mark.
I want to ask you, because the way you described it before, you literally just walked out your front door and said, "I need to run."
Yep.
You had never done that before.
Never.
Okay.
And my wife was a runner, and I was always joke with her. What enjoyment do you get out of running? And
yes,
yeah.
How much enjoyment did you get out of it at the beginning?
I would say
enjoyment, the right word?
There definitely was. From day one, there was enjoyment, but once you start pushing yourself a little bit and start adding those miles on, you feel it in your body. And there were some days I went to work and my guys are like, "You're really enjoying going out and running." I said, they're like, "You can't walk right now." I said, "I understand." I said, "But here I am." I said, "I want to keep pushing forward." And then, I talk about those stepping stones that you see, that you have along the way, meeting different people, these people, telling you a little bit of their story. I've came across multiple people that have, had some different stories and why they're out there running. And then you also find people that push you. And, I found an older gentleman who is local to Western Pennsylvania. He actually puts on some different local races.
Okay, so I'm going to guess he is a lifelong, long-distance guy.
He is.
Okay.
He actually has ran the Boston Marathon multiple times himself.
Okay.
And he said, you honestly might want to think about, doing a timed run. So from that point on, completing that first timed run was a half marathon. I finished it in 1 hour and 37 minutes, so a pretty good time. And I realized from that point on that I need to do more of nutrition, more weight training, and it is definitely a full circle becoming a marathon runner. It's just not going out and putting miles on.
How much of a rabbit hole was that to dodge? Because when you start talking about nutrition, you're talking about pre-workout drinks, during the workout, carb ingestion without upsetting the body, and then post-workout recovery drinks. There's 9 billion different products to do that. How did you sort that out? Because you weren't doing, I mean, you were fit before, but you weren't paying attention to, well, this packet has 40 grams of carbs. And how did you do that?
Yeah, so I will say a lot of it was self-taught. Thank God we have social media today.
Yeah.
You have social media and you can research whatever you want to. And I really, after that, for my first half marathon, I saw what it did to me. It wasn't good. I will say that.
What do you the actual process of running?
Yeah, the process.
Before doing nutrition?
Yes.
Okay.
Without, I had some stuff happen to me that I didn't expect to happen. And I did a little bit of research, and here finding out, reasons behind this, a lot of it was nutrition. I was lacking the proper nutrition to have that massive expenditure of energy that you're going to have when you run a half marathon.
Yeah. Guys that marathon runners burn 5,000-6,000 calories.
Yes, that's pretty much spot on, I think.
Yeah, in 2 hours you burn 3 days worth of meals.
That's correct.
Was that an adjustment? I mean, obviously at this point you are 100% into running, but now are you dragging your poor family into your nutritional weirdness? We're having rice and chicken every day, kids.
My son, Daddy, what are we having for dinner? Rice, chicken, meat. Which it's actually good though, because he's developing, and I'm proud of myself for it. We actually went to get a cheeseburger somewhere, and it was obviously ultra processed. He was eating a McDonald's cheeseburger, and he goes, "Dad, this doesn't taste good." I said, "Well, that's the difference between when you're actually eating real protein and you're eating something that's ultra processed."
Yeah, and there's no way to run 26 miles. People say, well, that's crazy. I'm going to eat. There's no way to physically do what you're going to do without this level of detail, is there?
Yeah, most definitely. You have to be fully rounded. It's definitely full circle, 360 degrees. From that point on, I really hammered down on nutrition, looking at protein, looking at, all my electrolytes. A major factor that a lot of people don't realize is hydration. I mean, you truly really need to stay hydrated. For me personally, summer months, it's easier for me to stay hydrated. Winter months, I struggle a little bit because when it's cold outside, you don't want to sit there and, take your gallon of water that's ice cold and chug it. You want something that's a little bit warmer.
You're not thirsty as much when it's -6.
No.
So, did you expect to dive this deep into this? Because you don't get to run the Boston Marathon halfway. Were you like this before your father passed?
I would
this
say
detail-oriented, this 100%, I'm going to get this done once the brain clicks on it?
I'm definitely a driven person.
Okay.
I definitely am. When I put my mind to something, I do like to follow through with it as much as physically possible. I think that reflects sometimes good for me and sometimes bad for me, because I always have, my wife's always telling me, you need to slow down. You need to slow down at some points. And I say, well, hey, I got to get this done. This is my end goal and it's got to be done. So I think that mindset has definitely helped me and kept me as driven as I am to be where I am here today, able to run the Boston Marathon.
Justin Wells with me on Something to Crow About. How many get this done in runs are going on? Because you don't seem like the kind of person that's going to do one thing like this and lollygag other things.
No.
Are you going to run the rest of your life, you think?
I definitely think I'll be running the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because after the marathon that I ran here in the fall, I took about, and you need to let your body recoup from it. I took probably 3 weeks off, and that was the longest 3 weeks of not being in the gym, not getting out and running. I told my wife, I said, I need it. I need to go back. I said, I don't feel right, but I could tell that my body wasn't 100% where it needed to be for my peak training. So I did, stop a little. It took a little breather, which was very nice. I did work a little bit more on stretching. I didn't stop completely. Over that point, also I've learned that you need to be flexible. You need to make sure you're keeping up with your stretches.
Those rubber bands, right?
Yep, rubber bands,
Those big-
plyometrics.
yep.
The kettlebells. We're going to start some new kettlebell exercises, some workouts with kettlebells. You just need to be fully rounded with it. It's just not getting out there and putting the miles on.
Where did you qualify? Because this isn't everybody gets to run marathon, the Boston Marathon. Where did you qualify and what did you run?
So we might be a little wrong at that aspect. So I did not qualify for.
Oh,
the
no,
Boston.
if I'm wrong, tell me.
No, I did not qualify for the Boston. My best time on my time frame was 3:20. Is my best marathon time, 3:20 and change.
That's sick.
I know. So over the past 4 years, a little bit since COVID, running has seen a huge increase of participants. So where the Boston Marathon before would see approximately, I want to say around 50,000 applicants, now they're seeing like 60 to 70,000 applicants because there are so many more people running. So that in turn is actually lowering the qualifying time. So
good.
Yeah. So going, you say good, but not good for the runner that wants to qualify.
Right.
So going into it, their qualifying time for a male was 3 hours.
All right.
Now, seeing all the participants and all the applicants that they have, they've actually dropped it down to 250.
Oh, no, I got it backwards. You're right. Bad.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So that is a super fast marathon. But I can say that where I'm at today for running, a PR of 3:20, I'm ecstatic. And also having the Golf Fights Cancer Organization charity, how the Boston Marathon works, they have around 33,000 participants that will run the 129th Boston Marathon, about 10,000 to 15,000 males, 10,000 to 15,000 females, and then the rest are actually going to be charity runners. So
that's brilliant.
It is. It's awesome what they do. So they allow people to, have the ability to run the Boston Marathon that, say can't make those qualifying times, but for them to run the Boston Marathon, they have to put in a little bit of extra work. So here I am today putting the extra work in.
To me, you qualified. The 3-hour trip that took 3:20. No, that's still an insane. Have you ever figured out how many miles per hour that is?
Roughly. So my mile speed.
Yeah.
My average mile pace should be around like 740 miles for the 26.2.
740?
Yes.
7.4.
7 minutes and 40 seconds.
Oh, a 7-minute mile.
Yeah, 7 minute. Yeah, 7 minute 40-second mile time, and that's probably right around like 8 miles an hour.
All right. If you're driving in your car, get going 8 miles an hour, then jump out and try and keep up with it, and do that for 2 hours. Are you scared? Are you nervous?
No, I'm actually excited, to be honest with you, more than anything. Obviously social media, you see a lot of different YouTube videos out there and different platforms that show what the Boston Marathon actually is. It's not just a race. It is a weekend event. The Boston Marathon is actually run on Patriots Day, which is Monday. They close Boston down. They actually have a Major League Baseball game early afternoon, and it is an event. So I'm super excited. Everyone says, the fans, the people that are just going to be there cheering you on. The local runs that I've done, you just have your few family spectators here.
Yeah.
But this is going to be Boston, Massachusetts, all coming out to see, you run the Boston Marathon.
What's the best scenario day? Under 3:20?
Yeah, under 3:20. So my goal was somewhere, I'm shooting between 3:15 to 3:20. I would like the PR, but knowing going into this that there is going to be a lot of participants running. So I don't know if this might be the race where I do PR at, but I'm going to give it my darnest to PR there.
PR for fat people like me, you had to explain personal record.
Personal record, yes.
Yeah. PR is not in most people's vocabulary. That's. Are you planning any racing after that, or is it deal with this?
This is definitely for sure my major goal right now is, strictly training for this and then recuperation afterwards. There are some summer local races that I would like to do, some smaller ones, and then I actually ran the Veterans First Marathon this fall, which was in Indiana, PA, and it was an awesome marathon, very well put together on the Ghost Town Trail, And the people who do that, they have a great turnout. It was pretty cool to run with some people that were trying to qualify for the Boston, because a lot of these smaller races are qualifiers for the Boston. There were some people from out of town that drove the whole way here to run the race to try to qualify for
to post a number that they hope got them in. How do you not take off like a scalded dog when it starts at a marathon? Because you're keyed up, you're excited. You said, and this is a long way down the road. How do you not take off too fast?
So you definitely do have some adrenaline, 100% at the beginning. You just need to, specifically for me, I use either my watch or my phone to just make sure, I'm not pacing up a little bit too much. But it's not bad to pace up. I kind of feel the little bit of running that I have done, that to pace up a little bit at the beginning, you're running on adrenaline. And you definitely feel it within those first 2 miles. And then I would say by mile 5, you're going to kind of find a little group of people that you can pace with at that point. So kind of how I do it for myself is I find that group where I want to be an average speed. I say average, but average to me.
Are you looking at average speed to pair up, or are you looking at heart rate? Heart zone.
A little bit of both. So
Okay.
I know where I'm running in a comfortable heart rate. But again, that might alter depending on terrain. So if you're running on obviously your flat surface, you just kind of got to judge that on your own there. But for me personally, is finding a group of runners in front of you and then setting your eye on beating that group. So my first half marathon, there was a young girl that was in front of me. At the turn, we were close. She was in front of me probably, I'd say about 10, 15 seconds. And I said, okay, at this point, I'm going to kick in these afterburners a little bit here, trying to bump up in front of her, and it pushes you forward.
And that becomes the next get, and then you try and work your way forward.
Yep.
See, there's too much thinking involved. If I'm running 26 miles, my brain's done. So Justin Wells running the Boston Marathon for the organization Golf for Cancer. Is there anything that I didn't ask you? Because you said a bunch of interesting stuff, and it was a wonderful talk. What did I not ask you I should have?
Just going back on Golf Fights Cancer, the reason that I'm here, I feel that, running found me. I found running, but also, to be able to give back for what I've taken out of it. It is definitely an individual sport, but I want to be able to give back here. It's changed my life 100% for the better. And what can I do as an individual to give back to, the community? And here I am today. I was asked to be part of the Golf Fights Cancer organization to run the Boston Marathon.
That's giving back.
Yeah, 100%. And it's amazing, with the Golf Fights Cancer mission, a lot of people don't realize that, with these donations that I'm hoping to bring in, the money goes, all kind of different avenues. It's not just for research. They're great at putting their money at all kind of different places. So you have, prevention, education, research, and especially a lot of people don't realize, but the financial barriers you see when you get that cancer diagnosis. Luckily here in Western Pennsylvania, we have, Children's Hospital, which is great. One of the top hospitals in the country. And you have the Ronald McDonald House, where you have a lot of these local families that are being helped and have somewhere to stay during these hardships and diagnoses. So my main thing is that I want to be able to make an impact on this, bringing in these donations and helping to give back.
You are making an impact, and a link to Golf for Cancer, I'll put it on in the comment section of the live Facebook feed. Make sure to get the word out. Okay.
Yep. Golffightscancer.org is going to be the exact website, and then my page for the Boston Marathon is giveandgain.com, and then you can just search my name, Justin Wells, and we'll put a link up there on the page.
All right. Well, after you run, or before you run, come back and give us a heads up, and then what happens after?
Yeah, most definitely. I appreciate the time.
I'll be thinking about you. I won't be anywhere near thinking about you enough to go, I'm going to go do that. God bless you, man.
I appreciate it.
Beaver County Transit Authority connects you to where you want to be. The doctor's office.